Hello and welcome to Raju Notes channel, your pit stop for weekly current affairs updates. The updates tailor-made for students taking all kinds of competitive exams like UPSC, civils, defense and placement interviews. Please subscribe to the channel and stay updated every Sunday.
India and China have reached an agreement on the patrolling arrangements along the Line of Actual Control (LAC) in eastern Ladakh. Briefing media in New Delhi, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri said this agreement can lead to disengagement and resolution of tensions that began in 2020. He said elaborate discussions between both sides resulted in an agreement on patrolling arrangements along the border areas. Mr. Misri added that India has been in discussion with the Chinese interlocutors at various levels. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has lauded the agreement between India and China on the patrolling agreements along the line of actual control. He said that both nations have gone back to where the situation was in 2020. Dr. Jaishankar said that the disengagement process with China has been completed. He further added that both countries will be able to do patrolling, which they are doing since 2020. The two-week United Nations Biodiversity Conference COP16 started in Colombia to assess historic commitments to halt and reverse the loss of nature. Environmental leaders from nearly 200 countries are expected to participate, where 196 countries signed an ambitious global treaty, the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework to protect biodiversity. At COP16, government will be tasked with reviving the state of implementation of the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Parties to the convention are expected to show the alignment of their national biodiversity strategy and action plans (NBSAPS) with the framework. COP16 will further develop the monitoring framework and advance resource mobilization for the global diversity framework. COP16 is also due to finalize and operationalize the multilateral mechanism on fair and equitable sharing of benefits from the use of digital sequence information on genetic resources. President Mohammad Muizzu has decided to introduce India's unified payment interface in the Maldives. The President's office announced that the decision was taken on the recommendations of the cabinet. The move is expected to bring significant benefits to the Maldivian economy, including increased financial inclusion, improved efficiency in financial transaction, and enhanced digital infrastructure. Indian tourists will be able to make transactions in Indian rupees on the UPI-enabled apps without going through the hassles of converting currency. During the visit of External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar in August this year, a memorandum of understanding was signed between the two countries to implement the unified payment interface in Maldives. The financial interface operated by National Payment Corporation of India has been operational in several international locations including UAE, Sri Lanka, France, Malaysia, Singapore, Nepal, the United Kingdom, and Mauritius. In Indonesia, Prabowo Subianto took over as the president of the world's third largest democracy. Prabowo will officially become the 8th president of the world's most populous Muslim majority nation. The 73-year-old former Special Force commander won the February 14th contest with nearly 60% of the vote after sweeping the country's election with policies like free meals for the school children. India, the US, Australia, and Japan have announced the continuation of the Quad Cyber Challenge for strengthening responsible cyber economics, promoting public resources, and raising cyber security awareness. The US State Department said Quad, under the auspices of the Quad Senior Cyber Group, announced the continuation of a joint campaign, the Quad Cyber Challenge, to strengthen responsible cyber ecosystem, promote public resources, and raise cyber security awareness. The theme of this year's challenge is promoting cyber security education and building a strong workforce. Earlier in 2023, Quad had launched a public campaign called as Quad Cyber Challenge to improve cyber security across their nations. On October 10th, the US hosted a Quad Cyber Challenge event at the White House, joined by officials from Australia, India, Japan, and other countries, according to the United States Department's press release. New logo of BSNL unveiled. The government-owned Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited (BSNL) unveiled a new logo symbolizing trust, strength, and nationwide reach. It has also introduced a new service such as national Wi-Fi roaming service, automated SIM kiosks, and fiber-based internet TV service. The new logo and services announced ahead of BSNL's nationwide 4G launch were unveiled by the Communication Minister, Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia. India and Pakistan have agreed to extend the validity of the agreement of Sri Kartarpur Sahib corridor for a further period of 5 years. The agreement had been signed on 24th of October 2019 to facilitate the visit of the pilgrims from India to Gurudwara Darbar Sahib Kartarpur, Narowal, Pakistan, through the Kartarpur Sahib corridor and was valid for a period of 5 years. Ministry of External Affairs in a statement said that the extension of the validity of this agreement will ensure uninterrupted operation of the corridor for use by the pilgrims from India to visit the holy Gurudwara in Pakistan. In view of the continued request of the pilgrims regarding the removal of $20 service charge levied by Pakistan per pilgrim per visit, India has once again urged Pakistan to not levy any fee or charge on the pilgrims. Justice Sanjeev Khanna has been appointed as the next Chief Justice of India. Law Minister Arun Ram Meghwal said this in a tweet that President Draupadi Murmu, after consultations with CGI Dr. D.Y. Chandrachud, have appointed Justice Khanna as the CGI with effect from 11th of November. Justice Khanna is currently the second senior-most judge of the Supreme Court. He will become the 51st Chief Justice of India. Justice Khanna is due to retire in 13th of May 2025. Justice Sanjeev Khanna was elevated to a judge of the Supreme Court on 8th of January 2019. In this capacity, he has authorized several landmark rulings and served on multiple constitutional benches at the apex court. His judgment consistently underscore the primacy of personal liberty, robust democratic participation, and individual autonomy. Known for his meticulous preparation, Justice Khanna's judicial approach has been characterized by a pragmatic view of dispute resolution and efficacious use of judicial time. Incumbent CGI D.Y. Chandrachud, who took charge on 9th of November 2022, will retire on 10th of November this year. The BRICS, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa summit this week adopted the Kazan Declaration, recognizing reforms of the United Nations and multilateral institutions. Briefing media in Kazan, Secretary of Economics and Relations Dammu Ravi said the declaration reaffirms the support for member countries' aspirations to be permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. He said cooperation in financial sector was another element of the declaration, which also includes elements like payment settlements in national currencies. He added that the climate change was another area of interest for all the leaders during the summit. The secretary said Prime Minister Narendra Modi brought out the importance of people-centric BRICS cooperation. A high-ranking team from Egypt met with Israeli officials in Cairo to discuss a ceasefire in Gaza. Local media reported that the chief of Israeli Mossad intelligence agency and the delegation from the Shin Bet security services attended the meeting. The meeting is part of intensive Egyptian efforts to revive negotiations for ceasefire. Yesterday, high-ranking Egyptian security officials met with a delegation of Hamas leader in Cairo to address the situation in Gaza Strip and identify ways to achieve a calm. Indian ambassador to Lebanon, Noor Rahman Sheikh, yesterday delivered the first tranche of humanitarian aid to Lebanon. This consignment of medicines was received by Lebanon's Health Minister Faris Abaid, highlighting the collaboration efforts between the two nations. In a social media post, the Indian Embassy in Lebanon expressed India's commitment to strengthen its tie with Lebanon. India dispatched 11 tons of medical supplies on the 18th of October as part of humanitarian effort amid rising tensions in the region. A total of 33 tons of medical supplies will be sent. Ministry of External Affairs noted that the first tranche of 11 tons includes various pharmaceutical products. This underscores India's commitment to aid Lebanon during these challenging times. Ukraine's bid to have Russia added to an international list of countries with weak money laundering compliance has failed again after the move was rejected by countries including China, India, Saudi Arabia, and South Africa. Three sources with knowledge of the matter told Reuters. Two sources with knowledge of this discussion that were held this week at the International Financial Crime Watchdog FATF in Paris said Brazil was also among the group that rejected the proposal. One source said Ukraine's proposal to shut out Russia has been postponed to gather more evidence. The FATF, whose member states include Britain, France, Germany, and the United States, along with other major economies, declined to comment, saying that it was due to update what is called its grey and blacklist nations after the end of its plenary discussions on Friday. Tensions have escalated in West Asia as Israel conducted precise strikes on the military targets in Iran. Iran's state media reported several loud explosions in Tehran. There was no immediate information on damage in Iran. The Israeli Defense Forces said that the strikes are in response to Iran's ballistic missile attacks on the 1st of October. In a statement, the Israeli military said, regime of Iran and its proxies in the region have been relentlessly attacking Israel since last year on several fronts, including direct attacks from the Iranian soil. Syrian state media said Israeli airstrikes have also targeted some military sites in the central and the southern areas of Syria. Meanwhile, as per local media reports, Iraq has suspended all flight operations until further notice after Israeli airstrikes. Iran recently launched two ballistic missile attacks on Israel amid the ongoing Israel Hamas war in the Gaza Strip that began on the terror attack by Palestinian armed groups Hamas on Israel on 7th of October. The United States has denied any involvement in strikes on Iran. The strikes took place as US Secretary of State Antony Blinken was returning to the United States after concluding a tour of West Asia, where he and other United States officials warned Israel not to further escalate the conflict in the region.
Well, that's all, friends, for this week's updates. See you soon next Sunday on the same channel. Till then, take care. Bye bye.